Hey guys, welcome to my episode on IBS 2023. Kind of what I found that was new there, at least new to me. Um, just some caveats. I don't have any crew with me filming these, so it's really just me kind of filming the products and kind of talking over those, just voiceover from this camera. Um, but this is really going to go through the things that I saw that were new and potentially helpful for me, and you guys can decide if that's also could be beneficial for you. So let's dive right in. The first thing I saw that I didn't love, I'm always looking at tapes and things like that, trying to understand if there's better ways to seal openings and things like that, and it's called Evoflash. And overall, I think it's always nice to have different tapes out there. What I didn't love was kind of this origami um, effect that you see happening here. You got one, two, three, four, and if you go back to that other picture, there's like 5 or 6 layers of tape just on this window. It just seems like a lot to me, especially if you're going to be siding right over this. I mean, you should have a rain screen, but if you're siding over it and you're pretty and you have a limited rain screen, if you're using a mortar vent or kind of mesh compound, you can get those to kind of stack up, and you may have some bumps right along your window area here that could get a little bit complex. Something, my background traditionally has been in the tech space, and when I saw this, I thought it was pretty cool by Savant. I'm not sure if this is the main company or if this is just the product name, but this is a look into their product that connects to your breaker box. And obviously this is quite a robust system of reporting from all your breakers, and in the end you have this control pad, and you have all these breakers that have screens on them monitoring output. This is the kind of master switch brain of the system that talks wirelessly to other parts of your house. So this is called a Savant power system. And this is obviously for an upscale, or at least I think would be for an upscale custom home. I can't even imagine what these little breaker boxes, these connections to their breakers would cost. I mean, they have a screen. I'm guessing they'd be at least, my guess is at least $100 a pop. Is my guess, if not north of that. Next is the Schluter booth. As I said, I did a little montage on this. What's nice about this is they now have a peel and stick of their Ditra, which is great for installers because they don't have to thin set it down. The one caveat here is that your floor needs to be, the subfloor wherever this is going down, the substrate needs to be really, really clean. And so the rep there had said, just make sure, if you're concerned with it being dusty, or you're even thinking that it may be a little bit too dirty, just prime it. And I believe she said with any primer that works with their product, and that should mitigate any of that dust that could cause lack of sticking to the surface. This was by Robam. Robam. I'm not sure exactly how you pronounce the complete name, but this was a range hood, and I just like the size of it and the look of it. It's pretty simple. I like things that are a little bit more flush to the wall. It keeps it out of the way of the user. I'm a tall guy, so this is a personal preference for me, but oftentimes I run into hoods, traditional hoods that kind of stick out, those rectangle ones, and I end up hitting my head when I'm going to bend over to stir or doing something like that. So I really like the concept of having the hood closer to the wall to help with that as well. I'm going to do another little montage on Robam on this other hood they have that's kind of this intelligent hood that connects to basically their stove, a mixer, a bunch of little different things. And this just gives you kind of the specs on, here's the noise, here, which is 52, and I believe that may be maxed out. And then the CFMs, I don't remember if these were, want to say 300, but don't quote me on that. So this is just the Robam, pretty slim range hood. The next product here is from GoBoard. I just thought it was basically what they're showing here is a slope. They provide this slope board, and you use their product to seam it together and then insert the drain, and basically that's your pan. Around the edge here is their curb as well, but it's the same type of foam backing board. I've used GoBoard on my past project in both bathrooms and haven't had any issues with it yet. My installer likes it. It's light. It's not cheap, but it's a waterproof, backer board that holds a towel, and it's fairly easy to install and lightweight. So that's by GoBoard. This next product, as I'm designing homes, I'm always looking for unique little, I want to say, plus ups in fit and finish for products, and I just like this toilet bowl. It's by, I think, the company, I don't remember the company, but the product is called Plural, I think Plural, and I just think it's a little bit different looking toilet. It has this little stainless, or not stainless, this brushed piece of metal here, giving it a little bit more detail than an average standard toilet. I just thought that was a little bit different. In that same space, and I don't remember this company's name, but these are stone composite trays, and they're obviously pre-made, and you can easily install them in your shower, and they're pretty thin from a drain standpoint. It's hard to tell here, but the depth is pretty slim, which is nice. The only thing I don't love about these is they have custom widths, and I think they went up to 36. I like my things a little bit wider to give the user space in the shower to shower and not have their elbows potentially hitting on the wall. So, but it's nice to always have kind of a pre-made solution that you guys can just drop in place specifically for maybe a remodel or something you're trying to get done relatively quick, or the trades are running are really busy, and you're just like, well, I'll just do the drop in the pan myself and buy something like this. It's a little bit more of what I consider an upgrade from like a Kohler drop-in ceramic or metal bath tray or shower pan. So I think they're pretty decent looking. I don't have the sense of how long the composites last, or when I see things like white in the shower, I'm not super concerned, but what's the UV performance on this material, in the sense that, is it going to turn yellow in the shower after, use, after days of UV hitting it, if you have a shower, window in the shower, etc. So I don't have any performance metrics on that, but I just thought it was a nice looking pan there. Also, what I thought was really sharp were these are heat pump dryers by Samsung. This whole, this is a whole unit. Obviously, here, I think they're separate, but they're trying to sell them as a unit. But as we try to limit the penetrations that we have in our houses, heat pump dryers is one way to get rid of one of those vents. And one of the problems that I've uncovered is there's just not a ton that are large, and there's not a ton that I think are really great looking. They're white. Miele, I think, has some. They're better looking than I think kind of some of the standard appliances, but they're still pretty traditional looking. These, I think, are much better looking. They're starting to venture into some little different color and materials and finish than other companies. So if you're looking for heat pump, the one I would say issue is they're not in the US yet, these guys. And at the show, I was talking to their rep there, and he basically said they were kind of testing the waters to see what kind of appeal there was for these kind of heat pump dryers in this finish for the end user. So when end user being kind of builders. So it'd be great if they brought those to the U.S. I think they're great looking. I would love to have a heat pump dryer that looks like that, and it's a little bit more. It's a bigger. This is 7.8 cubic feet in the storage space, so also nice to be a little bit larger than the kind of ones that I see out there. Also in the coming soon, or hopefully coming soon, is this refrigerator freezer from Fotile. What I like about this is it's a tempered glass, which is a nice touch to it. It's built in, so 24-inch depth, which is really, really hard to find in any reasonable pricing here in the U.S. I haven't found kind of a full refrigerator that is counter depth, or that is built-in depth, under $5,000. So this was, I think he was targeting 3 and below, and he actually said 2,500 at one point, but he wasn't sure. As you can see by the badging and the print here, it's not even out in America either, and this was a prototype that they were showcasing here, but that is also in China right now. So the minus from this are two. One is the doors aren't panel ready. So I know when you guys are building it, or at least when I'm building and I think about built-in refrigerators, I prefer them to be panel ready, so that my clients, if they want to, can swap the doors out to match their kitchen. The other piece was there's no built-in ice maker or water at this point. So these are things that are all under consideration, but overall I think the refrigerator was great looking. The fit and finish felt durable and strong. Like I said before, I like this tempered glass look. It would probably go with quite a few styles of kitchens, and it'd be nice to see something like that from that's in the U.S. market at that price point. Something else that I liked was this product called Thinscape from, I forget if Wilsonart was the name. It's hard to kind of tell, but I'll get a little bit deeper in here. But it's a nice thin profile. So again, the lines are a little bit more modern, and that's my kind of building design style. So it's nice to have that thinner profile natively with the surface versus having a thicker counter that you would need to get cut down. This is laminated paper and some resin, and it's supposed to perform just as well as quartz and to be a little bit cheaper than quartz. The other plus up that I really liked from the product was the ability to use it as a backsplash. So as clients are wanting to bring their counter from the counter, let me adjust myself here, from the counter upwards. So they have a counter, and you see more and more people running the counter up the wall. Most of the time, you're dealing with a counter that's just as, or a wall installation that's just as thick as the counter, which is heavy, which is hard to put in. Hard being, the handler has to be at least two people. If the wall is a large wall, you gotta figure out ways to hold it up there. Why they're mounting it in place. The nice thing about this Thinscape surface is that it's thin, right? So it's easier to install. B, it's easier to cut into. I mean, less material to cut through, both from an electrician standpoint, from the installer standpoint. It's easier to mount as well, and that was super appealing to me. Anything that I can do to try to make my team's install efforts easier is great for them and for me. And they have a bunch of different colors, and you can go to their website. I'm just trying to scrub to where you see a little bit more of the profile. and that's somewhat of a better picture. Anyways, that's by Wilsonart Thinscape. That is definitely a counter I'm going to explore for my next build. The next product was by Pitt. I have talked about this before in another video. These are just hobs that are cut into countertops. They've been out in gas form for a while now, but they've introduced an induction version here. And so what these top plates do is, this is your cooking surface. There's another piece under here as well, and that's so that you can, if you spill on these, you can just take these off and wash them. These controls are built in obviously to the counter. Those are really nice. They had some nice knurled edges, nice edges to them. They're slightly knurled. It's hard to tell in this picture, but there's some etching in there. But really nice premium cooktop. I was talking to an interior designer that I had dinner with, and one of their concerns, and I think it's a very valid one, is that when you're talking about these surfaces, so this one is one where they've added the countertop into that plate, that top plate, just to give it a more built-in streamlined look. But often this person said to me that she moves her pots to and fro from one, a hot burner to a medium burner to a low burner, etc. And when you have a system like this in place, you can't slide it, right? Like that's one of the pluses of having kind of a monolithic square or rectangle on your counter. You can use more zoning on the cooktop and sliding it from one zone to other. So I thought that was an interesting perspective, and I would agree with her on that point, that I probably wouldn't consider something like this for that. This feels maybe like someone that doesn't cook as often, but wants to have a high-end appliance in their kitchen. These were doors, exterior doors, and I just thought some of the material treatments and surface treatments were interesting. I didn't talk to anyone there, so I don't know if that's actual wood or MDF or something, but there are things like this starburst type door that I just don't see very often, even when I'm looking at inspirations online. I just thought they were really unique. And once you get close to this guy here, you can see the material treatment. It's kind of leather-ish, this kind of stippled application, and just really interesting exterior door treatments that they were showing off. This is a company called Ventiques, and they basically do in-floor vents, probably similar to Aria, but metal. And I like this because they had a nice damper. So right where I'm pointing, there's a little slider that opens and closes to dampen that, and it's on both sides, which is nice. It's just when I'm looking for like little details that are kind of plus ups again on houses. All I see in the market are those kind of chintzy white grates, etc. But these are, I think, an upgrade, and those little details for me that I think make a difference when people are walking the house, during a sale process, and say, oh well, look at those vent grates, versus seeing kind of those white plastic ones or standard white ones that are in the big box stores. And they come in, there's a black one. And they have two different installation styles. One is a put in before your wood floor, so that's this guy. And I'm not sure if I've captured the after one. I don't think I do. And this is just another picture of the built-in ones. But they also do have one that's you put in, you can put in after your floors are in. This is just another great company. And what I like about these guys, again, is they have these honeycomb grates. A lot of people make these kind of linear grates, a lot being me, and there's a few suppliers. They're easy to find for me, but it's nice to see people coming up with different cut patterns. As I said earlier, just having those little details that may be a little bit different can make a difference when you're looking to show a house. Even some of these larger, I think these are probably mostly return grates. Uh, they can just do a ton with their patterns and things. And I just thought that was it's good to see that that those options are out there. I didn't get any pricing on these. Obviously, these are going to be more premium than these guys. They have a lot of stock stuff. These feel more custom. They probably have a body of products that are stock, but I would guess that you're probably looking at $100 per probably for each of these. So definitely moving up in the premium category. And these, given the amount of cuts it's going to take, I would guess these are 200 and up at that point. This was just the Endura replaceable door sill. This basically handles the issue of, there's a lot of damage that can occur to door sill when you're doing construction and things, and they have it's right there, this yellow one, which is stock when it comes in, so that you can use that and damage that, and then put in that yellow one's the first one, and then you put this guy in after, when you're about to sell it or move in, etc., and it'll be brand new. And I really like that concept because there's a couple things that happen. Either you're putting in a kind of not a replacement door, you're putting in just kind of a dummy door so that you guys can lock the building up, and then you can either replace that door with a final finished door, or you can use what you're going to use at the end of the build as your normal everyday door, but it's going to, this still is the thing that's going to get damaged the most. So this kind of handles that, so you don't have to swap in doors. You can just swap in this sill versus dealing with that, which I think is nice as long as your supplier carries it. This is Quick Flash. I've used their products on a bunch of projects. This boot is, I believe, for a line set. This is a pretty heavy duty one compared to, you're going to see another one here in a second. These are for their joist, so protecting the top of the joist by the ledger. This, let's get to that product. So this guy over here is for cleanouts, and it's just something that I hadn't seen in their products. So having that cleanout pipe built in, I thought was interesting and new to me. And then this is for two pipes, which is for a specific use case. You'll see this vent on the top up here, but I could potentially see this used for other things as well. And this was the boot that I was familiar with before for their line sets. It's a little bit more streamlined, a little bit smaller than that other kind of squarish one you saw before. But basically they're these kind of blue squares that you can attach to really gasket around various penetrations. So you see this PEX here coming through what would be the side of a house potentially, and really help with that kind of air sealing component. These are called NoVoForms, and basically they were plastic. They were just tubes of plastic, and you just roll them out, and you put the spacers in, and you put the rebar holders in, and you can they come in various, they don't come in various widths, but they can be made to any width. Obviously it all depends on the spacer component here. The thing that I didn't love about them was there was no insulation component. I didn't see a place where you could like drop in some foam to help insulate that wall. These I thought were interesting, which was just a little cover for your downspouts, just to kind of guide the water versus having it go all over the lawn. These were called OSBlocks or OSBlocks, I think they call them, and the concept here is they're kind of like ICFs, but they have a wood component to tie into. So you stack them, You build with them. This is all above grade. So you would build up the house with these. You can tie into these OSB kind of furring strips, and you can see here at the top how they connect. You put this piece of wood up here at the top, and you connect your next your potentially your next bottom plate of whatever surface is going up there. So that insert this insert here doesn't exist on the coursing, but happens on kind of your final course if you're going up, and that gives you a spot to tie it into. I wasn't listening to what they said. They were a little bit further away from me, but I'm not sure how that ties in. It looks like it probably just screws in there, or you can screw down into there. I just thought these were interesting because it's a way to kind of remove concrete from the equation of your kind of ICF structure. These I loved. You see people talk about putting pans under washers and potentially dishwashers, and typically they're custom. They have to be custom bent. These were not. These were pre-made pans at a reasonable price. I want to say the stainless here was, I think, $350, which is pricey. But then they had a powder coated one like this guy, which was, I want to say, between $150 and $200. And you're easily going to pay your metal guy for materials and labor, at least that, in my opinion, or at least in this market here. So I think at that price, it's a bargain to me. So those are the kind of, I want to say, highlights of my trip to IBS. It was my first time there. It was a ton to see. I was there for 2 days. I probably could have used another half a day. There was one day I was at the builder show, and there was another day I was at KBIS, so the kitchen component of that. And then I would have liked to had a third day to kind of review everything and the vendor list, and to kind of go and focus on some of the spaces that I didn't see or didn't spend enough time there, because I was just kind of getting a bird's eye view of everything that was there. So I think it's definitely a 2.5 day take your time show. If you're looking to see new things and learn new things, if you're just going to present or educate, I don't know if I would be able to just do that. There's just so many things that are interesting to me there that I want to go and talk to people and learn. And I know some people just use it as an educational component and learn that way, right, with dedicated focus sessions. So that's kind of my long form highlights of IBS 2023. I do recommend going. It's super busy. Most people there were great to talk to, and so I would likely be going again next year, providing it's in Vegas or someplace that's reasonable. So comment, any questions, I can try to help answer, dive into any of these details further. There are individual clips of some of this stuff. I would say 90% of it. I'm probably going to post a couple more that I found that were missing. So thanks for watching, guys, and subscribe and like if this is things that you find interesting and helpful for you in your daily life and building.